Now, we're going to run through some of the most unhinged posts and tweets from the internet this week, and again, brace yourself to lose some brain cells with me. Up first, someone writes, if a straight man is traumatized to learn that a person who performed oral sex on him is a trans woman, that trauma probably comes from false messaging from society telling him he did a gay thing. False messaging? And couldn't he be traumatized from having been lied to and tricked into a sexual act? Like, I thought woke people, or really just everyone, was supposed to agree that that's bad. Let's stop sending men the false message that it's gay to be with trans women. Yeah, I mean, it is a little, though. It's not the gayest thing. Like, most gay men are not interested, I can tell you this personally, in trans women because they appear very feminine in many ways, and many of their secondary sex characteristics appear like female sex characteristics, which is obviously not what most gay men are interested in. But obviously, in many cases, the parts and the biology remain male. So that's not 100% heterosexual either. It's not giving super straight. It's maybe a little somewhere on the bi spectrum or something, and that's okay. But when you try to tell people that getting with somebody with male parts is straight as a man, we are going to look at you like you're kind of crazy. Up next, somebody tweeted, the woke mind virus is literally just empathy. That's it. It's empathy. We must have lived through very different decades over the last 10 years. Because I remember woke internet mobs destroying people's lives and ruining their careers over ancient posts that no one noticed at the time that say something that aged poorly or was offensive to someone. I remember bullying and shaming people because of their privilege or characteristics they can't help, and trying to sort people into who should be listened to on certain things based on their characteristics. None of that gives empathy, babe. It actually gives narcissism, bullying, control freak. It does not give empathy. Up next, there's a post that says, Meta Zuckerberg says most companies need more masculine energy and have been neutered by feminine energy. To which someone says, it's so panic-inducing just how fascist and far-right society is becoming again. Bro, I don't even know if that Mark Zuckerberg statement is true, if tech companies have become more feminine or masculine, or what that even means these days, but it is not fascist, okay? Some of y'all need to remember that words have meanings, and the dictionary is not, in fact, a choose-your-own-adventure book. And when you guys cry wolf all the time and call everything fascist, Nazi, extreme, racist, sexist, homophobic, blah, 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 just throw these terms around like candy on Halloween, as so many people on the left have done for years now, whether they realize it or not, they dilute the meaning of those words and the impact of their warnings, unfortunately meaning that when they're actually appropriate and needed to isolate or call out somebody who's truly, truly toxic, people don't listen these days. And to some extent, that's y'all's own fault. Up next, Bill Kristol, who used to be a Republican but has turned into kind of a Democrat talking head, posted a post from the White House, the new Trump-run account, that says, President Trump delivers more in 100 hours than any president in 100 days, with an American flag and an image of Trump that says the golden age of America. Bill Kristol shared it and said, welcome to North Korea. Newsflash, Bill, if this was North Korea, you wouldn't be posting that online. You wouldn't be questioning your leader and besmirching his good name for the whole world to see, because in North Korea, you'd get disappeared. And sure, has Trump really done more in 100 hours than any other president in 100 days? Probably not. I don't know. You'd have to check the historical books and run some sort of scrutiny or examination to really know that. But it's the White House account. Of course, they're gassing themselves up and tooting their own horn and putting out like self-congratulatory messaging. That's what accounts do when the government is in charge. That's what comms people do. This is very normal. Biden's White House all the time would say somewhat delusional statements about how great they're doing. That's normal politics, not North Korea. And again, y'all have just lost the plot. In another post, journalist named John Harwood shared news that the federal government is closing DEI offices in federal agencies and wrote, when does he bring back segregated water fountains? Y'all, some of them really learn nothing. Some of them have not learned the lesson of the first Trump term was that the constant hysteria, alarmism, and hyperbole doesn't work. It just leaves people numb to it, and they stop listening to you, and they tune you out. And then Trump can get away with more, not less. And ending DEI is not the same thing as bringing back segregation. In fact, in some ways, the weird woke excesses of identity politics we've seen under the DEI regime are low-key segregationist. You see like self-segregation into affinity groups or different spaces. Heck, my college had separate graduation ceremonies for LGBTQ students and Black students, and all of that is viewed as progressive under DEI. Of course, it's not the same as like old school segregation that was forced and mandatory under law. This is voluntary and done in the name of tolerance or whatever, but it's still low-key bad. And rolling it back is ironically less segregationist. But keep up with the hysterical tweets, John. You're doing amazing, sweetie. This next post is my personal favorite genre of woke tweet. It reads, "Lesbians can be attracted to men. Lesbians can kiss men. Lesbians can have sex with men. Lesbians can date men. Lesbians can date multiple men. Lesbians can have sex with multiple men. Lesbians can cuddle men. Lesbians can do whatever they want with men consensually." Glad you clarified there at the end. The community note here is just a link to the dictionary. It notes, lesbians are not attracted to men. That's the thing. Words have meanings, and you can't just make shit up and say whatever you want. And it's certainly not progressive or woke in any meaningful sense of those words to erase lesbians and claim that the very thing that makes them a lesbian is actually not required to be a lesbian. If a lesbian can be attracted to a man and could marry a man, the word lesbian doesn't mean anything and has no value. Congrats. You're doing amazing progress over here. Up next, we've got terrible financial advice from Twitter. One dude writes, "Why is everyone so scared of debt? There's no real consequences. You can just take the free money. Worst that happens is some little number goes down. Who effing cares? Oh, my credit score. Can't imagine letting a fake number run my life personally. Take all the debt you can." Y'all, don't take financial advice from randos on social media. Exhibit 1 million. It can actually really hurt you to have debt. You can have your wages garnished, your car repossessed, your home foreclosed upon or seized. You'll never be able to get a mortgage or a loan if you need one in the future. Like, debt can destroy people's lives. And so saying insane stuff like this, if even one person believes it, could really harm someone. Like, that's not funny and not cool. Up next, the Trump hysterics take an interesting twist. One person wrote about the news that the Trump administration is planning a large-scale immigration raid in Chicago. The Black Americans celebrating this have no idea that we're next. You are not, in fact, next. The government can't deport U.S. citizens, and Black Americans are U.S. citizens, nor has Trump ever said he wanted to do any such thing or indicated in any way that he would. Trump has broken some people's brains, and it's getting tough to watch. Another person has another apocalyptic warning about the GOP. He writes in response to news that Trump is going to seek to give the education department back to the states. If he goes through with this, then red states will become unlivable for the foreseeable future. Yeah, no. In fact, 2 out of the 3 top states for education in America are Florida and Utah, the other being Massachusetts, which is obviously a blue state. Some red states might do poorly if the education department is scrapped and it's just all handled at the state level, but some will do well, and people will flock to the states that do better. That's kind of the point of having a 50-state system. You can have what they called laboratories of democracy, where different things and policies get tried and some work and some don't, and people can kind of move to the places that are doing a better job, and then those other places that are losing people will adopt those policies, and better ideas will win out over time. But if you have one-size-fits-all approach forced onto a big and diverse country by a federal bureaucracy, that's going to stifle progress. And that's why people want to get rid of the education department. You might disagree and we can have that conversation, but it's not some apocalyptic idea. The department didn't even exist until like 1980. Oh boy. Well, this has been quite the episode, and we've dealt with our fair share of Delulu today. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to today's sponsor, Home Title Lock. Do make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to do a debrief episode on my wild debate on Tim Pool's show that got, unfortunately, really hostile for no reason. I'll do that in a special episode, potentially tomorrow or Monday. But make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button if you haven't yet, blah, 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 and we'll talk again real soon. Thanks, guys.